Okay, we are recording. It is 6:31. We're going to start the Taft General LSC meeting. Before we begin, I just want to remind everybody there's a sign-in sheet at this meeting if there's still the mask mandate. And yeah, if you could just sign in case we need to contact anybody who's here tonight. Appreciate that. And then we will call our meeting to order. And Anita, if you'd like to lead us in the pledge, we don't. Oh, we could have. Thank you, Tommy. You're so prepared.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. I know there are a couple people who will not be here tonight. Ms. Cobb is on a plane out of town. Mike did not contact me on that. I know he said he was going to start traveling at the beginning of March. Skylar's on her way. Julietta is going to be online. So if you want to go ahead and start with the roll call. Here. Here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here.
Mr. Russo, present. Laura Keeling, here. Julietta Castro.
Julietta, do you see her online?
No.
Okay.
So she has to be online?
Yes, she sent me an email. Is that her jumping on now or no? Okay. All right, keep going.
Mary J. Kyle is not here. Bridget George Chapin.
Here.
Pat Winston.
Here.
Amelia Lana. Mrs.
Is
Kyle.
Amelia?
Art Bishop.
Here.
And forum is
Okay, we have a quorum established. We're going to go ahead and get started with the meeting. So the first item is, I guess we don't have anybody virtual right now. Oh wait, did Ms. Pasco just join? Okay, if you want to put her on, it's like.
And then, Madam Chair, don't we need to vote to?
Yes, that's what we're going to do right now because I wasn't going to do it because we didn't have anybody on. Okay, so we need to take a vote to allow Ms. Pasco to participate and vote virtually. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
You have Anita, did you want to say something?
I'm sorry. No, I just wondered.
Okay. Anyone abstaining? Okay, the motion carries. So if you look at your packets, we're gonna go ahead and look at the minutes, approval of the minutes from February 8th from our meeting that day. Does anybody have any questions?
I move to approve the February 8th minutes.
And I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? I'm sorry, I'm just going to back up a little bit to approve today's agenda. Does anybody have any questions on the agenda?
I move to approve today's March 8th agenda.
I second it.
Who was the second?
Maria.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, thank you, everybody. We're going to move to item 4, COVID safety updates. We usually have Mr. Flores provide those, but I don't see that he's here.
Mr. Phil, I'll just give you a quick report, real quick. For the last, about 2 weeks, we've had in less than 5 quarantines at Taft every day. And that includes, when I say that, that's like 4,600 people when you talk about our students and our parents and our staff members. Less than 5 every day for about the last 2 weeks.
Well, I think the city's COVID rate is 0.8% right now.
Yeah, so that would be about right, yeah. So that's your update.
Okay. All right, our next item under there is the Taft COVID Safety Committee with Ms. Trebbing.
We haven't met this month, but we definitely will be reaching out to Mr. Richaber after this week's news from CBS.
Okay.
So just to talk about what that looks like moving forward.
Okay. Does everybody know about that email? Mm-hmm. On Monday, we're mask optional.
Yes.
All of CBS.
Praise God.
Okay. So we're moving to item C, our student mental health report if Ms. Hess is gonna, maybe if you have anything to share with us.
Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa Hess. I'm an assistant principal here, and I work with student support. We have re-envisioned our behavioral health team, and we have several community partners that we are re-engaging at this time. We're working with Lutheran Social Services, Youth Guidance, and also BAM and WOW. And these are a couple of agencies in which we refer students who need Tier 2 and Tier 3 SEL and mental health support. We presented on a 3, 4, 5, 6 meeting to staff to talk about the processes for referring students. And we have new behavioral health team leads. We have Ms. Hutton. She's a counselor, and Mr. Howe, also counselor at the varsity campus. And we also have at the Freshman Academy, we also have Miss Diana Powitz, who's our school social worker, one of them, and Miss Solger, who is our counselor. So we have kind of revitalized our behavioral health team and have presented on that to our staff.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Hess? Great. Thank you, Ms. Hess.
Thank you, Ms. Hess.
Okay, we are moving on to reports. We have the principal's report first. I don't know if you want to start with the student spotlight with the students with Ms. Vaquero.
Okay, you want to mention it?
Oh, okay. Earlier today we were talking about on Friday, Ms. Vaquero, she was CTE. She grabbed a group of students and they went around the outside of campus to clean up. We're still having some custodial shortages, and so they went out and they collected 8 bags of garbage at the varsity campus. So we just wanted to give a shout out to her and her students for taking care of campus and having pride in our school. And then if you want to go ahead, we are going to budget.
Okay, I'll do principal report first.
Oh, sure.
Okay, I'll do a principal report. So competency A, this should be in everybody's book. We sent the initial, I'm going to take this down just when I talk. Sent initial scheduling sheets to our 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students for the 2022-2023 school year. And those are our recommendations about what they should take. So everybody knows last year, or this school year right now, we have 2,748 AP IB classes, okay? For the next year, we are recommending the kids take approximately 4,650 classes, okay? We don't willy-nilly put them in there. We think that they can handle them. Now, they don't always have to take those classes, but those are our suggestions to them. To show you how well we did on the programming of the 2,748, all the kids that are not in a higher level class had a 4% failure rate. The kids that were in the 2,748 class, we had a 1% failure rate. So we're doing something right by identifying what kids are supposed to be in those classes. So that's huge numbers, 4,650. And like I tell people, if we had 4,650 kids take AP classes, on the US News and World Report, we'd be in the top 50 in the country. Now I know a lot of them won't, but the way they do that is they calculate how many total AP classes and IB classes you take, and they divide by your senior class, and that would put us at a numerator of about 4, and that usually gets you in the top 50. Now we know kids aren't going to do that, but like I've been saying for 7.5 years, we're asking kids to eat their educational vegetables, and now they're accepting it. This last year I had the fewest parents and kids come to me and say, I can't take this class, it's too hard. I'm not getting that anymore. The kids understand that they can take these higher level classes, and they need to understand that when they go to college, it's being driven into them with our counselors and a lot of our talk with them, that colleges are no longer just looking at your GPA. They want to see the rigor of the classes that you've taken, that they will turn you away for a scholarship if somebody has less of a GPA, but they've taken an AP class or an IB class, okay? I didn't put it in here, but I added some stuff along the way. Our 9th grade DL on track rate since 2018 has gone up 10 to 14% every quarter. So after 5 weeks, it's up between 10 and 14%. After 10 weeks, after 20 weeks, right now we're after 25 weeks, it's up this time about 12%. That's huge numbers because we're getting our kids, our DL kids, to get like everybody else, okay? And so I just want everybody to understand the hard work that's being done by Ms. Hess and a lot of the APs. Ms. Hess in particular, I'm gonna give her a shout out there, and also our DLTs here at the Freshman Academy and at the varsity campus. So those are huge numbers. Next one is, I'll say, I know it's gonna say it a couple times today, but I'm gonna brag on some teachers here. Ms. Trejo, who's sitting over there, was nominated for a Golden Apple Award. If you don't know what a Golden Apple is, Golden Apple is equivalent to a teacher winning an Oscar, okay? And she's one of the only few teachers in CPS that's nominated for that Oscar. So we're so proud of Ms. Trejo. We have a meeting on Friday. I think she's gonna do well. We also have Barb Newton and Ryan Dooley renewed their national board certification process. Congratulations to them. We also have Alma Vera, and there's a mistyping there. It says Alma Vera id now Dr. Alma Vera. So you know that I don't have a doctorate because the way I spell. But Alma Vera is now Dr. Vera, and so we're really proud of Alma Vera, and I know the PBLC will give her a shout out too. We're also pushing through 12 national board certified teachers through the pipeline. One of the problems with becoming a national board certified teacher was that you had to go off campus. And Jennifer, you're a national board, right? And I think Bridget is too, and just giving some shout outs here. But you had to go off campus, and sometimes you would drive for 2 hours to go to a 2-hour class. And so we worked out a program at Illinois State University to where the program is actually on our campus, taught here and mentored here by 2 of our national board certified teachers. So when I go to the graduation ceremony, like in May, all schools, like, oh, look at us, we've got 2, we've got 1, we've got 2. We're gonna have 12. And people are gonna go, what the heck's going on at Taft? Because our initiative is to have 50 by 2025. I didn't want to be close to any other school. Any other school with 2 or 3 or 4 or 10, we're gonna have 50, okay? We observed all of our first round of our PAT reach observations. As you might know, tenured teachers don't get evaluated this year or last year, but our PATs, which is permanently assigned teachers, which are teachers between years 1 and 4 years. So we're about halfway done with those teachers. And then we had all staff 3, 4, 5, 6. When I say that, that's periods 3, 4, 5, 6. Every teacher has off at least one of those periods. We ask them to come to a PD and watch it on the behavioral health team. Oh, look at my spelling again. Team, referral system, and school supports. Okay. Next one, I'll add this one in. Our chess team took first in the Chicago Chess Foundation. I'm very proud of that. Having been a chess coach for 9 years, I'm very proud of that one. NGROTC took 5th out of 18 teams in our personal inspection. We held 3 programming information webinars for all 9th, 10th, and 11th grade parents, where it was online and they could pop in there, and it was a webinar. We held a programming information webinar for all of our 7th grade academic center parents. We held, Ms. Condos held an IB webinar for all of our future IB diploma candidates. We received the Taft 14-person minivan. It's all blinged out right now with Taft on the side and no dreams too high where eagles fly on one side and educate global citizens to create a better world on the other side. So this next one was kind of weird. We got the final standings for the Super Smash Brothers Ultimate IHSEA Championship, and we were 14th out of 53 teams. I logged on and watched it. I had no idea what was going on. It was like a bunch of clouds, and the people announcing it were really excited, it seemed, at certain points. I had no idea, but we finished 14th out of that. And you know, E-Games is really huge. A lot of kids are getting a lot of scholarship money for that, so that was nice. A huge one here. Our senior art students, and it's not a misprint. This time I didn't mess up. It's $2.8 million in scholarships that they received for their art projects. Okay, $2.8 million for our art students here. So our art department, which I think is one of the strongest in the city, is really doing well. So congratulations to them, and of course their teachers. Next one, we mailed out our alumni football jersey order forms. As you know, we're starting to get a lot more alumni that are interested in coming back to the campus. Last year, I attended the picnic, which I thought was going to be 100 people, and it wound up being about 2,000 people. It's again this year, and so we've got these alumni jerseys that people can order, and it would be like a football jersey, but on the front and the back would be the number, would be the year you graduated. So if you were from 1988, you'd get an 88. On the back it says alumni, on the front it says Taft. So when we start having people show up at football games or basketball games, you'll know who the alumni are, and you'll know what class they're from too. So That's starting to be a really good deal. And then we got a little flack from the ladies, they're like, hey, we need like a slimmer cut too. So we had to go with a ladies cut too, so you can get girls and boys on there. We're initiating talks about acquiring more bleachers on the carpet, on the varsity campus field. I know Mr. Navich here wrote a real nice article for Mike Scalera here about how our next initiative is going to be to get some bleachers around, so it's going to be more of a surround stadium more than just on one side. Looking forward to that. As far as what I'm doing here, I'm a member of the Network 14 High School Principal Advisory Board. I attended Network 14 Principal AP High School Summit, and I attended a Chicago, again, what's with my spelling? Chicago District Reflection PD. It was held with Mr. Martinez on a Friday, and we were basically looking at our grades. A couple of things I also added on here. Apples to apples. We can do apples to apples right now when we talk about misconduct. And so in 2019 to 2020, when COVID took off, it was like the beginning of the year, September 19 to about March 14, when then we all left. So we're taking that data and comparing it to this year. We can't compare the other years because those are all COVID years and there's nobody in the building. Of course we have nobody baby because there's no one in the building. But that apple to this apple, in the 2019, 2020 school year, we had 2,716 misconducts. Okay, that could be coming too late to class, it could be vaping in the thing, it could, whatever, 2,719. To this date, this apple, right now, this year, we have 1,054. So, I just want to, 1,054 total this year. So the apple before was 2,700, now we're at about 1,000. So I just want to set that misnomer that kids are acting up after COVID. It's actually, they settled down a lot after COVID when they came back. So the numbers prove it right. There were like 1/3 the misconduct. And out of those 1/3, everybody needs to know 80% of our kids in the school have never had a misconduct. Okay, and so, you know, we all have knuckleheads. I was a knucklehead in high school. I can tell you some stories, but 80% of our kids are doing wonderful what they need to do. Other kids, sometimes they're late for class. That first period class seems to be a rough one, still getting here. But, dates to remember, we have April 11th to the 15th is spring break. Everybody's looking forward to that. Friday, June 3rd is senior prom.
You know where that's at?
It's at the Hyatt in Rosemont. Sunday, June 5th is our 8th grade graduation. Sunday, June 12th is our senior graduation. And then Saturday, August 11th is our annual alumni picnic.
You know, when are the SAT and PSAT?
I think it's on the 23rd of this month. What I'm looking forward to, and I hope CPS did actually do it, is go with the calendar B option for next year. I think that's a really good calendar for us.
Yes.
We start earlier. We have a spring break, summer break, winter break. We actually will get a fall break right now by having that whole week of Thanksgiving off, which will be nice. But the nice thing also is that our kids are going to be able to get out of school earlier. Okay, and you got to understand with the neighborhood we live on, Northwest Side here, a lot of our kids are working in the summer. So if you're in school for the last 2 weeks, those jobs are taken, all at the HIP and all the Starbucks and everything, all the summer jobs are taken. So now that our kids are going to get out a little earlier, I'm hoping they can get on those jobs.
Well, it's not just that, it puts us in play with the suburban kids. I mean,
With-
we're already at such a
Right, for
disadvantage
testing.
with these schools.
Right.
You know, it's not just athletics, it's academics as well. And we're so far behind, like, it's great that they're going back a week early, but we need to consider yet another week, so.
So the reason I say it is that, and that is the number one thing, we're actually going to be, you know, why are other teams or other schools starting on the 20-yard line and we're starting over here, and we have less weeks to study for the SAT exam and also a final
It's
exam.
such a disadvantage.
It is, and so, but what I'm asking is, right now it's 50-50 at the board.
Oh.
And so I want to tell them, well, 50-50 is not really 50-50 because you got to consider 20% is people that just don't want to change. So it really is swayed in the way. So what I'm asking my LSC is maybe a couple of phone calls downtown that says, listen, we really are in favor of this calendar. They tend to listen to LSCs a little bit more than other people. So if you can make those phone calls and get some people to make phone calls. And so that's it. Any questions on principal's report before I go to budget?
Mark, really quick.
Yes.
Originally, the seniors, were they graduating the 3rd or the 5th?
Are the 8th graders really graduating the week before the seniors?
Yes, yeah, they changed everything
So the
around.
school's just gonna be empty, right?
No, well, see, the seniors, well, the truth of the matter is that we're not getting attendance counted against us. But we do have to bring our seniors back. And so on Monday, they will come back and get their caps. And on Tuesday, they'll come back and get their gowns. And then they'll get their yearbooks. And so we bring them in.
So that's after prom then?
Yes, after prom. And I always like the last couple of years, we had prom and then graduation. I liked it because, I mean, the ladies were like, hey, I gotta do my nails once and my hair once and I'm good to go. Now I gotta do it every week. So, but yeah, we had it on the 5th. We originally had it on the 5th, but CPS said, no, they can't graduate until this day, so we had to move it ahead.
They let the 8th graders graduate.
Yes, yes. Okay, any other questions before I go to budget? Okay.
Anybody? No? Okay.
Budget's pretty simple this month. I'm looking at a thing that looks like that, where it has the approvals. So first one is $15,019. I have to get anything approved over $10,000. BSN Sports, and this is a lot of miscellaneous stuff: softballs, baseballs, jerseys, kind of a mishmash pit. $15,019. The next one is Compass Transportation. That $13,000 is a carryover from December. Okay, we have a lower one in December. Compass Transportation, the next one, $15,000. That's for February. And going forward, we're probably going to have Compass Transportation close to $20,000 or $25,000 every month. And the last one is E&C Construction, because we're going to frame out the front entrance and or another classroom, like I explained in the budget meeting. That's $14,990. Any questions on that? Okay, let's go down to budget transfers. And if you look at the budget transfers, like I've explained every meeting, those are pretty much moving money around to pay for the bills up top there. Okay, we've got to move them out of one account to put them in another account, because you can only pay them if they're in that one account. So it's pretty much explanatory. Any questions on budget transfers or anything?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I noticed that there's some clubs that have money in their account that they no longer exist. So where does the money go?
What will happen is it's a great question. I usually let it sit there for a while, because sometimes the club will reappear a couple of years later. So I don't really touch it that much. But if I see it sitting there for 2 or 3 years, I'll take it and it'll go into instructional fees and we'll use it for whatever we need to do it.
So if a club does restart, they will automatically get the money that was.
Exactly, yeah. But I also make special notes too, because if I did liquidate that account and we do get a new club, I will look back to see, did we ever drain that account? If we did, then I will put it back in. Yeah.
I make a motion to approve this month's finance budget approvals and transfers.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Julieta, you're on mute, so I just want to ask, are you in favor of the budget transfer? You could just put a thumbs up. There you go.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, the motion carries. Is that everything then?
Yeah, we don't have a CIWP report from Mr. Flores and Ms. Greenblatt.
Okay, so no federal. All right, so we're moving to 5B, the chair report. And I just added in our packet, just for people's reference, because I always get confused, there is, I think towards right after the minutes, why not right after the principal's report, a little thing in there about guidance counselor versus school counselor, if you want to read that. There's no report on that. But I do want to ask, I think at the last meeting you had mentioned that we had funds, and I don't know what the name of the funds are, but there were funds for people to do stuff after school. I don't know, I know we had, I believe Ms. Neese had done something, but I don't know if anybody else has, if we have any, if we still, it seemed like there was still money there. I don't know if anybody is.
We do, and we put the email out to everybody. You have to use the funds you have to give students an experience after school.
Yeah.
So it can be a plethora of things. So right now, if you broke it down, we have about 6,000 hours that we can give teachers or staff members to use. So right now, those are coming in and we're using them.
Oh, okay, so people are
Definitely.
making requests to
Yes,
do
they are.
stuff? Okay.
And it could be, not after school, it could be on the weekends for tutoring, SAT prep, AP test prep.
Ooh, SAT prep would be a good
Yeah.
one to know about.
Yep.
Is anybody doing that?
I think there is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just keep an eye on the website.
Okay, no.
Mr. Gershig, are
Yes.
you referring to the extended pay?
No, that's something
something
different.
else.
That's the OST funds, which is after.
OFT.
OST funds, yes.
Oh, okay.
OST.
OST.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. And then I wanted to just go back. I know, we had talked about before, I believe, maybe hiring a couple of people with that 1.8 billion that came from the feds for CPS. I don't know how that gets distributed in our schools, but is that how?
One of those was the OST funds
Okay.
that we're using. That's one of the funds. And the other one we had is funds that we used for a lot of different things in the school, a lot of different programs.
Did we hire somebody?
No, we didn't hire anybody, but we used it for, like, when the kids came back to school, we had balloons and everything in the hallways. We had goodie bags for the teachers when they came back.
Do we still have, because I know that.
We do have some left, yeah.
That goes from 2001 to 2020, I'm sorry, 2021 to 2024, so I don't know if we are making plans for, because I know it's all related to COVID relief and coming back to school, so I don't know if we have.
We have not, we've been told we're gonna get it for next year, but until I see it in my budget. Budgets are gonna be given to the principals on March 15th. And then they want them back by April 7th.
Okay.
Mr. Fisher,
Yeah.
could you get clarification? I have on my calendar that the 8th grade graduation is on Monday, June 13th. Has that changed?
I have it on the 5th. Let me check my calendar. Tommy, can you check the website maybe? You know what, given the fact that how I was messing up on that English, you may be right. I've got June 5th. Let me go. You sure you got it?
Monday, June 13th.
You got Monday, June? Okay. Okay.
Mine said.
Okay, so you're right. So it's Monday, June 13th. I stand corrected. I have it on my calendar here. Okay, I have 2 graduations on there, so they obviously we took the 5th off. Okay, my fault. So it's on the 13th. Okay.
Okay, any, okay.
Seniors will be happy.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna move to the committee chair reports. We have the budget committee report, and Mr. Sclera is not here. I don't know, Chris, if you want to speak to that.
So thanks, Madam Chair. We met earlier today, went over what principally we discussed today. There's nothing to report in addition to what we reported out at this body.
Okay,
Our next meeting is April 19th at the varsity campus at 5:30. That concludes my report.
thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Guzman? Okay, we will move on to the PPLC, Professional Personnel Leadership Committee, Ms. Krebbing and Mr. Plensky.
I'm sorry that I had to hand it in late, but I'll throw it in the folder too. The report was just handed to you. We met yesterday, March 7th, with 9 Taft teachers and discussed some issues confronting us. I'm going to go over a few of them, but not all of them. Number one, we wanted to share Mr. Bishop's congratulations to our colleagues, especially to Dr. Vera and Ms. Trejo. And Mr. Sparrow, new director of climate and culture, came to the meeting, which is good. We shared very specific plans for mandatory all-staff training, which we've been recommending on the topic of restorative justice. CPS is going to be sending our staff a survey to kind of sense where we are as a staff and figure out how they can better be informed on where they can begin training us. I think that's a good way to start. So we're hoping to get that survey out as soon as possible. Mr. Levins and I had already discussed that. We hope this training is going to give us a common sense of how to handle student behavior as a staff, so we're all on the same page. Another issue that we talked about was completing our annual staff survey. We're just about done with it. We've been talking about how we got it together, and that's because the LSC always asks us, what does the staff think of this? So, some years, like last year, we used that data to figure out that we needed Chromebook cards in the classrooms and some other issues. So hopefully we'll get some good stuff out of this survey. We're putting it together. We're actually going to have a special meeting pretty soon to go over the results, and then we'll share that data with you guys on the LSC. We collaborated as a team also on ways that we can roll out a grading and assessment discussion that allows for collaboration, moderation, and it differentiates for student groups with unique needs. I'm talking about grading and assessment for IB, DP, AP, English language learners. We also discussed how teacher groups are the most vital part of that decision-making process. And we're going to share some specific recommendations at our next PPLC meeting to administration, hoping for some collaboration on a plan which will result in equity and fairness for our students. And I want to reiterate, I do this every meeting, LSC, your opinions on this as parents and students and community members are always valued by this PPLC, and we always want your input, so.
And
Your service.
Scott sends out the link ahead of time. You can always email him if you want the link as well. It's the Monday before the LSC meeting, after school.
Guys, please keep us updated on the restorative justice, as that progresses forward. It's
I will, that
important
seems to be moving forward now.
And you guys are pleased with how this is being rolled out with your input, seems like it's a strategic, smart way to.
The ball's kind of in CPS's court at this moment.
Have they given you, like, is there a turnaround time, or is this like in a week, in 2 weeks? When is
I think very soon we're gonna have the survey out to the staff, and then we gotta just kind of, the CPS survey, and the results go straight to the office downtown, and then they'll come in. I don't have an exact date yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to actually discuss some dates, and we were talking about early May being a good time to do it, but then that was conflicting with a lot of our testing. So yeah, we're kind of working on dates. It looks like it'll either be late April or early May.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just to be like, just want to add one more thing I forgot about my report. We did initiate the student, a suggestion from the Student Voice Committee that they start their announcements on a weekly basis, and we started that 2 weeks ago. So the kids are really liking it.
And
they're hamming it
ladies,
up. Huh?
we
How's it
good?
going?
We're good.
I know that you guys have, I don't know.
Oh, they're gonna report too? Okay.
All the, whatever the speakers or the PA system on the varsity campuses.
It didn't work the first week, but now we got it.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. God, and Bridget. Now we're at facilities.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We met today at 4:30 here. Let's start with the Freshman Academy. Ms. Trebbing, the cracked glass on the 3rd floor is going to stay. It's not a safety issue according to CPS, so let's just hold our breath on that. The 2nd floor atrium, the issue with the railing seems to be a safety issue, so someone from facilities at CPS is just going to come out and confirm that it's code compliant and isn't a risk issue. The Public Building Commission, which is the body which oversees all of the public building in Chicago, who oversaw the building of this facility, has said that our punch list, which are those items that lingered on after construction, has been completed. So if there's something that we find in the facility, it's on us now to fix. The fence that was blown through by a reckless driver is, the PO has been issued, and hopefully in the next 3 to 4 weeks, it will be repaired and then onto the field. As we know, our spring sports are revving to get underway, so hopefully that'll get done very quickly as well. It's going to be about $5,000 just for the fence. And in regards to both campuses, custodial issues continue to be a problem. Thank you to the teachers who continue to take pictures of, especially not singling out varsity campus, but this is a brand spanking new building. I know Ms. Trebbing has been all over this. She's trying to, keep us on our toes with this, and really pictures just tell the story. So we just need to keep documenting how this building is not being tended to the way a new building should be. Moving to the varsity campus, we'll call it a foreign substance, and the boys' basement locker room has been remediated and repainted. The big issue is to get control of the water intake and the moisture level, which seems to be, the facilities team's been out there several times and it seems to be under control. Knock on wood, that's great news. So that when we're ready to build that space out, we'll be ready to go. This past Saturday, Interstate Electronic Company came out and they surveyed our PA system. And so good news, about 75% of the building is covered. The bad news, 25% isn't. So they are preparing a report to submit to us probably within the next 2 weeks with a full-on solution to do what we can to get the building 100% covered with our PA system. And Madam Chair already mentioned this, but I'll say it again. It's a facilities issue. Mr. Chero took a group of kids, students, They volunteered to walk the campus last Friday. They gathered about 8 bags of garbage. I love that. That's taking ownership of your facility, and we have a lot to be proud of up here. Also, shout out to Ms. Miner. She is organizing weekly campus walkarounds and getting volunteers from our students, our amazing students again, to keep our campus clean. This just isn't on the custodians. They're not the ones that are throwing trash on the ground. So I appreciate that these students are stepping up and owning their facility. We had 2 resignations in the cafeteria, but thanks to Miss Anita Williams, she is our interim cafeteria manager. She has stepped up and just kept us humming, even though we are down 2 people. Any questions? That concludes my report. We'll be meeting next month, April 19th, at the varsity campus at 4:30. All are invited to attend. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Russo.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to Bilingual Advisory Committee. Ms. Hess, you wanted to share your report with us?
Sure. I have a short presentation, so I'm going to share my screen. Can someone unmute and just let me know that they can see my screen? Okay, thank you. So I'm just going to give a small overview of our bilingual program because I know I've received a lot of inquiries about exactly what our bilingual program is. So as of the beginning of March, we had 419 students identified as English language learners. And of those, 114 students were identified as both English language learners and diverse learners, so students with IEPs. You're probably wondering how students are identified as English language learners. When a student enters into a Chicago public school, a home language survey is administered. A child is identified as an English language learner if another language is spoken at home. So this includes students who are fluent in a native language. This also includes students who don't speak any language other than English and maybe just have a parent or someone at their home who speaks another language. And so we have 2 types of bilingual programs here at Taft High School. We have a transitional bilingual education program, and we also have transitional program of instruction. So really these 2 different programs are based on the numbers that we serve within a specific language. And so when we have a language like Spanish, Ukrainian, Polish, Arabic, and they have more than 20 students within that language, that's when it's considered a transitional bilingual education. When it's 19 students or fewer, we have like Mongolian, Italian, Korean. This is considered a transitional program of instruction. In the next couple of slides, I'll get into how we serve our students specifically here at Taft High School. So like I was mentioning before, our transitional bilingual program, these are the numbers that are represented in our student population. Arabic, Spanish is the largest, Polish, Ukrainian, and Tagalog, which is the native language of the Philippines. We have many, many languages that are also represented within our transitional program of instruction. And again, there's so many to name here, but that's the beautiful thing about Taft and our English learner program is that we have just such rich diversity within the languages that are spoken in our students' homes. So here specifically about our bilingual supports at Taft High School. So at Taft Freshman Academy, we support students who are in grade 9 with an access score of 3.5 or higher. They receive support directly from teachers who are certified as English as a second language support. And so basically, that may include supporting students through visuals, through differentiation using graphic organizers, appealing to multimodal learning styles. I think a lot of this is just best general teaching practices in general. At the Taft Varsity campus, we support students grades 9 through 12 with students with access scores below 3.5. We support students in classes such as English as a second language. We have levels 1 through 5. We also have an additional communications class that is paired with this, and that's levels 1 through 4. Again, these are supported through our teachers who are ESL endorsed, as well as through bilingual support. The thing to remember here, I just wanted to point out, in case you don't know what the word access means, that is the test that is given every single year to all students who are identified as English language learners. Even if students and their parents refuse services, we are still required within federal mandates to ensure that these students are meeting English language proficiency. Just a small kudos to Mr. Mihailov and the entire ESL team. They administered with, I think, 95% of students had been tested through access on both campuses just this past month. And so specifically getting into our bilingual advisory committee, the purpose of the bilingual advisory committee in CPS is really just to empower our parents of English language learners to participate in their child's education, thinking about, you know, everything that any parent wants for their child, and thinking about it, academic, social, and cultural development of all English language learners. Specifically, our bilingual advisory committee, these are the folks that are on the advisory committee, and I will be sure to share this presentation with our LSC. You can have the emails linked here to all of our bilingual advisory committee. So the bilingual advisory committee meets 5 times a year. We just met in November, and we had 2 big focuses. One was focusing on graduation requirements. Ms. Hajaz, one of our counselors, presented on that to all of our folks on there. And Mr. Mihailov, who's our bilingual coordinator, presented on the new EDGE curriculum that is used within our ESL classes. So that's just a brief overview of our bilingual program as well as the bilingual advisory committee.
Thank you, Ms. Hess. I know Ms. Pasco asked a question in the chat.
Yeah, Ms. Hadler, this is Julieta speaking. Ms. Hadler, I can see you, and I love your baseball cap. Anyway, would you be so kind to break down of the EL student that you showed on your slide in terms of how many of those students have IEPs?
Yes. So out of the 419 students identified as English language learners, 114 are students identified as both EL and DL.
Will you be so sweet and break down by language, please?
I just have the overview of language. I don't have it specifically by students within IEPs, but within the overall program, Ms. Pasco, I can put it in the chat box for you.
Yeah, send it to me, please. It's just because you know that I have been very involved in special ed my entire professional life, and I was suggesting to you in one of the messages that I sent is that I want to offer all the parents who have children with IEPs, we want to offer a membership, life-term kind of thing to join the Learning Disabilities Association, because we have a grant. We should receive a lot of money, and that money is exclusively to help and assist parents with children with disabilities. So that's what I was intended to do. So that I was hoping that in attending the meeting of March, if there is one in March, I will bring all the papers and suggest that they join for free for the rest of their lives.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I'll include the presentation so you have that data to all of the LSC members. And then I'll also invite our LSC to our next BAC meeting when Mr. Mihailov has that scheduled.
Yeah, we received, there is a message on the chat box, my divine, saying that there is no meeting in March, that the next meeting is in June 13.
No, she was responding to when the academic center graduation is scheduled. That's when she.
Oh, I see there are two different things. Okay, no, just be kind enough, and I don't want to impose on you because everybody's overwhelmed and overworked. But just send me that stuff. Is that I'm extremely busy doing all this kind of stuff, and also I want to announce to you and to the parents and to the local school council that my House Bill 5214 passed the House of Representatives on Monday with 100% votes. Now it's moving into the Senate in Springfield with the expectation that it will pass so that all parents whose primary language is not English, any language but English, they will have to have a qualified, certified interpreter to sit with them through the entire process, from the identification of the child, MDC, needed assessment process, the development of the IEPs, mediation, due process, 504, everything goes into that bill. So it's past the House, and now we're moving into the Senate, and that's why I was telling Ms. Davila that I'm extremely busy doing many other things. Thank you. Thank you for your tolerance.
Thank you, Ms. Hess.
Thanks, Ms. Hess. Does anybody else have any questions for Ms. Hess about the BAC?
I'll say happy birthday to Riley Hess, who just turned 1 year old.
Happy birthday.
Class of 2039.
Oh my gosh. Okay, thank you. We are now moving on to our Safety and Security Committee report with Ms. McDormand.
Well, we met today at 3:15 with our new Director of Climate Control, Mr. Spear. We started out talking about our new security hires. There were two new security guards hired, one for varsity and one for the PFA. And we also have 3 more security guards in the pipeline, just waiting to see if they just accepted the position. So I'm not exactly sure how long it'll take till they start. We wanted to give a huge shout out to CPS Safety and Security because they've been providing some coverage at both campuses, and the security team continues to rise above the challenges while providing a safe environment. We have a hallway washroom strategies that was put together with a schedule. There was a lot of issues going on with having closed bathrooms. There is a schedule showing what is open at what times, and it's been, according to Mr. Spear, it's been working out much better than it was previously. It was just trying to avoid everybody going to the bathroom as soon as they arrived at school in the morning. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay. We're also having some additional notes where if anybody sees any, to report any custodial supply issues to a security officer, and they can radio for service. So they just want to report that as soon as you see something. And the only the available washrooms on the schedule will only be closed. The only time to be closed will be to maintenance issues or if there's damage. We want everybody to take pride in the school, report any individuals causing damage or acting inappropriately in the washrooms and the halls. And the schedules will be adapting according to periods during the staff meeting schedule also. And with all this going on, more bathroom stalls and urinals are open because they close the smaller restrooms instead of the larger ones. So actually, it does give them more bathroom facilities than keeping the large ones closed. Mr. G already talked about what was going on with the misconduct, so I'm not going to repeat that. It is correct that the 80% of students have 0 misconducts for this school year, and of the 20% that have misconducts, 15% of those are repeat offenders. So it's not a bad number there. And you talked about some of the loitering, cutting class, those are minors. That's what some of the problems are. It's not, the vaping is still up, probably more than it was in 2019-20 school year. And the other problem that is up too is also students leaving school without permission. 11% of our misconducts are up from the previous school year's school. Initiatives to combat this, new passes or no passes are going to be issued for the first 10 or last 10 minutes of class. They'll realign the hallway passes to be color coded based on the floor and the area they're distributed from. And these passes were designed by the students and they'll be available soon. As we all know too, the daily cut target report is sent to all parents on both campuses on the daily. And the bathroom schedule, strengthen our bathroom monitoring is keeping students from avoiding classes in the restroom, so it is working. We talked about the vaping, it's still up high, and initiatives to combat this is keeping the bathrooms monitored more, strengthening the hall bathroom monitoring that helps keep the students from spending unnecessary time on where they can pay. And there's some stuff that's in drafting stages that we'll talk about in a later date to talk about some more of the climate. And that was our report. Any questions? And we will meet again in April, and the meeting now is starting at 3:15 opposed to 3:10 in the past.
Thank you, Ms. McDormand. Okay, it's now time for our student representatives report. I don't think Amelia is on, so Princess, if you'd like to go ahead.
I'm on.
Oh, hi. Do you have a report, Ms. Otto?
Oh, wait, wrong Amelia.
Oh, okay. Like I didn't see Amelia. Okay, Princess, if you'd like to go ahead, Ms. Otto.
Hi, everyone. So the first topic that I want to talk about is National Holidays / National Month. As we know, today is International Women's Day today, and I think that it would be nice if there could be an announcement over the intercom, acknowledging these months or these days, such as Black History Month, Native American, Heritage Month, just to say that the school acknowledges that these months are being celebrated, because it feels good to be noticed, especially when you're a part of a minority or a marginalized group. The second point that I wanted to bring up is the culture in the school. The level of disrespect has increased a lot, and it's been a bit out of control. Not only are students rude amongst each other, but they're very rude to teachers as well. And many students don't like the school environment. For example, many students say homophobic and racial slurs in the hallways and in the classrooms, so it makes people feel very uncomfortable. And then the third thing that I wanted to touch on is gender neutral bathrooms. From my understanding, the school has gender neutral bathrooms where you have to ask security for the key to go in, but that's not very convenient because you may not be able to find a security guard that quickly. And many students don't even know that you can do this, so some people just go about the whole day without using the bathroom. And I also wanted to know what happened to the equitable restroom signage, the boys plus and the girls plus signage that was supposed to align with the Title IX law. Was that ever going to be put up?
Okay, the last question first. We're still waiting from the signage from CPS to give to us, okay? As far as I know, we don't have gender equitable bathrooms. Students can use whatever bathroom that they identify with is the bathroom that they can use. That's the CPS law.
Any other questions?
Does anybody have any questions?
I would say though, since we are doing the announcements, I think that's an easy and low hanging fruit we could hit with the, every month that we could have with the student announcements. We could make those announcements either in the day. You can go on websites and find out what that individual day is, or every day of the week you might be able to announce it, especially for Black History Month or something like that. We can announce that with the student voice. That's a great idea.
Princess, did you want that announced? I don't know if there's separate announcements that go out just by the school versus the students. Is that what you were suggesting?
Yeah, because the announcements are only once a week, and sometimes the days wouldn't land on the days that the announcements are being said. So like maybe it could be on a separate day. Because like today was International Women's Day, and that's not a day of announcement, so that would be separate from the general announcements that we have weekly.
Sorry, but would you, I don't know, do we do announcements at the
No,
school?
we don't,
Okay.
we don't do them every day. That's why I'm
Okay.
saying if they knew that week, like, hey, by the way, don't forget this Thursday is
Okay.
this, or next Friday is this, I think it's best if you do that announcement. And for us to make an announcement every day.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
I think I can look on that. I feel like that is one that we talked about, and I'm like looking around in this space, now that like a flat screen on their sheet, I'm like, I'm not even using it right now. Screens cost nothing anymore, I'm sure, especially for schools in bulk, like, students are in this space for lunch, so, like, video, like, could be running announcements we talked about as art teachers, that could be running student artwork, but that would be cool, like, my understanding is when those, once you have them, they're pretty easy to program.
We've started that initiative on the varsity campus. Right now, we have 3 on the varsity campus that we're starting to do that with. Mr. McKinney has piloted that. And it's going to be one of our initiatives to put on the weekly announcements on there also. But we don't have anything here at the freshman campus, but I think that we will. Because I want both campuses to be equal. And we'll get a video screen up here for everybody.
Okay.
Anything else for Ms. Pyle? Great, thank you. Ms. Linda, if you'd like to go ahead.
Hello, everyone. On the topic of announcements, as said, live income announcements are up and running every Monday at the start of second period at both the freshman and varsity campus. Last week, the TFA's announcement went perfectly, but at the VC, the PA was working until Wednesday, where we announced a shorter version of the script. And also, the PA speaker, as said, doesn't reach all areas of the school, and sometimes the speakers are really quiet in the classroom, so people just talk over it. Otherwise, thank you guys for supporting SBC and getting these announcements up and running. My second point is bathrooms. A lot of the bathrooms remain unsanitary. For example, there's toilets, flooded pools of water on the floor, and pads are sprawled onto the floor. Yeah, it's fun. And also there's a lack of feminine hygiene products, especially at the TFA bathrooms. These products are very much needed. Some students really rely on them. And the third point for bathrooms is that many of us are very frustrated with the closing of bathrooms. Some students aren't even aware of the schedule. I know there's an email put out to all students, but again, many people don't check their emails. So I think a good solution would be to put schedule maybe on bathroom doors or give them to teachers so they can have them in classrooms. So then like student will actually know which bathroom to go to. With bathrooms being closed, many students have been late to their classes because of this regulation, which results in an email home. And students cannot be on time to class when they're scouring the area for a bathroom. And again, having the bathroom schedule well known could help with this. My third point is attendance for seniors. I have a question. How many absences or tardies will bar a student from going to prom, graduating?
I'm not going to give that number, because if I give that number, everybody's going to go to that number. So right now, we're looking at it, and we're going to be flexible, and we're going to try to take care of as many kids as we can.
Okay.
So right now, it's just being looked at absences, tardies, and grades, as well as behavioral. So everything like on your bag report, behavioral, absences, and grades, that's all going to get looked at.
On the topic of that, many students, especially seniors, feel that the attendance is being held against us because it was encouraged to stay home when we're experiencing symptoms of being sick, especially with COVID. But this low attendance rate, some students are afraid they're not going to be able to go to prom, even when the cause of this low rate is because they stayed home to protect themselves.
Right, we're going to take that into account. I guarantee most kids are going to be able to go. The majority of kids are. We're not going to hold it against them if they had COVID or they were staying home because they were sick. So it's not really going to be as bad as you think. You just got to trust me on that one. But if I tell you 20, I guarantee I'm going to have 800 seniors that are going to be at 19. And we just don't want this. So just, everybody knows what I'm talking about. Just get to school as much as you can. If you're sick, stay at home. But that won't be a held against you. My goal is to have as many kids at prom as we can. And the only thing that really is gonna probably bar you is if you had some major violations. And even if you had those violations, maybe if they were earlier in the year and you haven't had anything. So we're gonna do everything we can to get all of our kids a prom, because I think they need a prom. I really do. I think that's, after everything they've been through, I am gonna sway that pendulum as far as I can to make kids be able to go to prom. But if I've got a kid with 89 absences, we gotta draw the line somewhere, right? So.
And my last point, which is kind of an ongoing point, that there's no library or established place to study with resources, specifically at the varsity campus. But students acknowledge that with COVID and an increasing student population, the library has been transformed into kind of a cafeteria area. But still, students feel the need for an actual place to study with books, computers, printers, because most of the time we rely on teachers for us. Yeah, that concludes my report. Any questions?
I have a question. So are you talking about absences because students are cutting, or are you talking about excused absences if you're sick and your parent calls in?
It doesn't count at all.
Okay, so we're talking about kids who are skipping class.
Right.
Okay,
We have a.
that's a totally different situation.
Totally different thing. We have some kids that, like, they have a 5th period lunch and they decide to take 6th, 7th, and 8th off by leaving the building.
So if you're sick,
That's what I mean.
right, so if
Yeah.
you're missing school because you're sick, your parent emails in or whatever.
Right.
I'm a community rep, I don't know how it's taken care of now. I know how it was when my kids were here.
Right.
They had to get the note, you know, the whatever. So that's different than kids skipping classes, for example.
Yeah, but I question whether how many students actually have their parents email the admission for.
Well, it's gotta be excused absence, so whatever the
Yeah.
protocol is to get an excused absence should be followed.
Yeah,
Right,
I don't know, like, a lot of students, I don't think they usually go to that extra step to ask their parent to do that.
well, they understand. Well, yeah, if they know they're gonna miss prom, then maybe they will.
They will.
Yeah,
Yeah, so we don't want sick kids coming to school, so that's not, let's make sure we're talking apples to apples, is all I'm trying to say. And then the other thing with bathrooms, Mr. G, you were talking about, you get to school or it's your second period class and you have to go to the bathroom, it's crazy crowded, go to your class, check in, wait 5 minutes,
10 minutes.
10 minutes,
Mhm.
and ask for a pass or whatever. Does that happen in any of your classes, or is everybody trying to go at the same time in passing periods?
well, I'm not sure because passing periods are very, like, crowded, yeah.
But if that's something that will help,
Yeah,
then maybe you should, you know, do your best to make sure the students understand. They go to class, wait 10 minutes, then go to the bathroom, then they'll be able to go.
I think another thing to note is that a lot of times teachers don't like you to go to the bathroom sometimes. Like, if a lot of people are asking, they're like, okay, well, you can just wait to the next class or wait to passing period. And like, that's counterintuitive to the whole point that you're saying right now.
So,
But they're supposed to. With the last, what we try to tell them is not the first 10 minutes, because that's when the instruction is being delivered. And you need to find out what's going on. And the last 10 minutes, because what happens the last 10 minutes, they take it, and then they go, and a lot of times they can keep the passes. So, but there's always, like, if you have to go, you have to go. We're not, there's no steadfast rule. But those 2 times, we try to keep those, so they would probably tell you that, but that's the reason why.
So to the 2 teachers, does this happen in your classes very often? Are there kids coming in?
I do know that I've heard from people multiple times.
No, I was asking the teachers.
Oh, about letting people go to the bathroom.
What's the question again? So do you find many students asking you to leave to go to the bathroom after they've been there in class for 10 minutes and not allowing them to go? Or are you finding students are asking you to go once they're in class?
Yeah, students know that they're not asked to go in the first or the last 10 minutes.
So you do have students asking to go after 10 minutes and you're allowing them to go?
Of course.
Okay. Mr. Plensner?
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same. We were directed, the first 10 minutes, the last 10 minutes, not to let students go, but afterwards we do. That being said, you know, every teacher only has a bathroom pass or 2, so can't let like 7 kids out in the hall.
Right.
Sorry, Ms. Crespo, did you have?
Yeah, One of the things I'm concerned about is just the tardies in general.
Oh, sorry,
Can you guys hear me?
I don't know who all the teachers and staff members are. Can you tell us who you are? Sorry.
Oh, I'm a parent.
Oh,
She needs to open.
yeah, you know what? I'm so sorry. We have a public comment period at the end.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm sorry, I just wasn't sure, because there's so many.
No,
staff.
I'll save the comment.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any more questions about bathrooms or whatever? No?
Any other questions for Ms. Lim? Okay. All right, well, then we are going to move to our arts report. Mr. Funner, do you have an arts report?
I'm gonna go for it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Mr. Cohen, I might do a slightly abbreviated. I had a thought today, maybe talk to Mr. Driftaver about this, but there's so much that's happening with our arts programs at Taft that it feels like it would be great to have like a monthly, like a standalone email blast or something with this information, like rather than having it embedded somewhere else. I think that would be really nice. So that feels like it's a possibility. I'm going to do my very best to hear all of these. In drama, Taft students participated and competed in the 2022 Chicago Youth Theater Festival. That was in February, the only competitive adjudicated drama event in the city. Congratulations to Nadia Walker and Gracie Radom and director Ella Leon, who placed third in the city in the two-person scene category. And this was work that they originally developed in Mr. Cohen's class. Auditions for the 2022 student-directed one-act play festival will be held later this month. This year's festival will be by far the largest in Taft history, featuring 10 plays, all directed by students from Mr. Cohen's directing classes. The festival will expand to 2 weeks in order to accommodate the unprecedented number of directors, running May 16th through 18th and May 23rd through 25th. Each week will have its own unique program, so see both weeks. Taft remains the only school in CPS that offers a course specifically focused on directing theater. Music. Taft Music successfully launched 2 new after-school clubs this month. The Taft Varsity Singers had 40 students attend their first meeting, and the Taft Men's Ensemble doubled its attendance from its first meeting to its second. And with CPS now lifting and changing some COVID-related restrictions, the Taft Music Department is working on their spring concert season calendar, so stay tuned. More details to come. The post-apocalyptic Simpsons musical, Mr. Burns, a post-electric play, sold out several days in advance, so much so that I did not get my ticket in time. Yeah. In advance of its opening night, and played to standing ovations from enthusiastic audiences from February 23rd through the 26th. Mr. Cohen, who directed Mr. Burns, is still recovering, although he's here, and has never been more proud of a group of students than the remarkable company of this remarkable production, who, by the way, I believe had like delayed schedules and had to be very flexible. Special thanks also to Mr. Nadig for his technical expertise and to the musical director trifecta of Ms. Jones, Ms. Foster, and Mr. Platakis for their tireless efforts. Extra special thanks to the students from Taft's JRTC program who provided the best and most organized front of house staffing we've ever had. It is a great joy to be sharing stories in the dark again. English and drama, Taft's Poetry Out Loud champion, Skylar Lim. Has also played first in the Chicago area regional competition and advanced to the statewide level.
Wow.
Bravo. In the Taft Visual Arts Department, which I'm proud to be a member of, Taft art students have been participating in the IHSAE, which is the Illinois High School Art Exhibition. So the competitive program in the arts. I am going to choose to not name all of the students' names because I did not practice pronunciation of their names. All of them are on the Taft website and Taft social media. And so we have a wide range of students who are being honored and featured in the exhibition, best of show pieces. We also have Taft students Tamia Wheeler. She's been awarded a summer scholarship to the School's Art Institute, and they will have their work featured in the early college program exhibition. And then we have a wonderful list that I will say one name that includes the name Skylar Lim of students who are being offered and awarded the tuition scholarships that we already know are nearly $3 million, and these are for the senior art portfolio. So
Great job, Skylar. Great job.
Thank you, Ms. Trebbing. Okay, Ms. Cobb is not here, and I have a short arts report she sent to me from our, I'm sorry, athletics report she sent to me from our athletics director, Mr. Kessler. Spring season started last week with approximately 600 students. There are 13 different sports to choose from, including the girls softball team, who hopes to try to recapture some of the magic that saw them winning a section title last season, one of the most successful seasons in any sport in Taft history. Contests for most teams start next week, so hopefully the weather cooperates. Go Eagles. Okay, so we're moving on to Friends of Taft report. Ms. Bernacki, do you have any?
I did not receive a alumni association report. We do have the newsletter here, so
Okay.
that helps. The PTSA, they're having a meeting on March 22nd. From 6:30 to 7:30 via Google Meet, and the link is on the page under PTSA. They'll be talking about their financial report, financial support for classrooms, the spring fundraiser activities, spiritware sales, flower sales, membership, and future Taft Night Outs. So this is a first meeting of this year, and I don't think last year we had any meetings, I don't remember.
No, I don't think
So,
Been a while.
if you can, zoom in anybody, it would probably be great to see what's going on and so forth. So zoom in, Google in, whatever. And that's it.
Thank you. Any questions? Ms. Bernacki? Okay, we're going to move on to old business. And first we have the restorative justice training. I don't know if we kind of covered that earlier, if we had a date. I don't think we had a date. You're working on a date. Is that correct?
that's not confirmed yet.
Okay, it's just not confirmed. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? Okay, and then the next thing was the Friends of Taft. Any progress? I know you had emailed Ms. Kelly. Is there anything?
No, like Anita said, they're gonna meet in 22nd, I believe, and we're gonna find out. We're still trying to get them to stop being PTSA and become Friends of Taft.
Okay. And then under new business, we have traffic safety. We know that there was a kind of little hit and run. The student is okay. A couple of weeks ago by the varsity campus, I'm not sure if that was Bryn Mawr, if that was Natoma.
Bryn Mawr and
And, okay, and then through that found out there was a few other kinds of incidents that happened, I don't know, over the course of the last couple of months, or if this is the whole school year. So I don't know if you have anything to let us know about that.
No, I am asking parents if they can, now that the weather is getting nicer, if they can drop their kids off maybe a block or two away to kind of ease up on that congestion a little bit. That will help us out a lot. But again, it's people are texting while they're driving, the kids are texting and looking down when they're looking. It's sometimes going to happen that way. And we're trying to do the best we can on that.
Is our alderman or the city willing to do anything there? Because this hit and run was after school hours, after track. I just drove over here past the school, 2 cars flew right through the stop sign. They weren't even there. Do we know, is the alderman willing to?
No, I've asked the Alderman Napolitano, if he could put some speed bumps there on Bryn Mawr.
Yeah.
To help, and he's looking into that right now.
Okay.
As far as the accident went with the hit and run, the lady had told that the young lady that was hit, she's okay, told us that she remembers seeing the speed camera go off on this guy. So we knew the exact time, so I contacted the Alderman's office. And it's up to the parents right now to file a police report.
Yeah.
And when they get the police report, then they can possibly pull up the time of, because she knows what color car it was. And if the guy was, or person was, it was a guy, actually, had a ticket, then they would know the car that it was, and so that would be an easy one. Because she stopped and gave her the wrong phone number and took off. Nobody got a copy of the license plate.
I do know the girl.
Yeah.
But where's your camera? Is it Toma and Bryn Mawr?
It's, yeah.
It's
It's-
a parking lot.
It's right near our parking lot.
So people flying down there flashes off on you.
You get tickets, yeah.
Well, what happens is they fly after Nagel, and then they slow down for the camera, and then they
Right.
fly
Yep.
after that
Yep.
into the stop
Yeah, I
sign.
know.
So I'm happy to know that at least
Yeah.
Napolitano is working on a speed bump there or
Yeah.
something, because living in the neighborhood, everyone blows that stop
I
sign.
know.
And it's not just
And then-
parents that drop off and pick up, it's all the time.
And then once you get past it, it's a speedway all the way to
Oh, all the way
Salem.
down.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Oh, yeah.
I know. It's been going on for 40 years.
Okay, any other questions about that or comments? Okay, we're gonna move on to public participation. I just wanted to check first if, I'm sorry, I didn't mention there's the sign-in sheet there, if anybody here wanted to have any public participation? Yes, Mr. Ford?
Thank you. So with the Mr. Burns of it all, I missed out on the last couple of debate updates to administration. I know it would have been in a report somewhere else. But just really quickly, in the last couple of months, Caitlin Andrews and Peyton Johnson, tournament 3 champions at the junior varsity level. Tournament 4, Lily Migoda, #1 individual speaker at the novice level. At our conference championships, we had 2 debaters with deaths in their families who found out on the day of the tournament. And their partners rallied and debated alone for the first day, and then their partners came back on the second day. And as a result of their performance at conference championships, Hannah Che and Lily Migoda have qualified for the city championship tournament at the novice level. Caitlin Andrews and Peyton Johnson have qualified at the junior varsity level, and Phoebe Tozer and Hugo Gahan have qualified at the varsity level. So we have teams competing in city championships and debate at all 3 levels. A year and a half ago, we had a single debater. So, and thank you, that debater Leon, for not letting me quit. Let's see here. City championships are March 26th. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. Oh, and Hannah Che was elected by the other debaters in the league to the Student Advisory Council for the league. So that's awesome. Yeah. That's it. Done.
Thank you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you. We're gonna move to the virtual, public participation, and I know, Ms. Crespo, you had something for us. If you wanna unmute.
Hi. Yeah, I had kind of a concern about like the tardies because there's no limit on the tardy time. So if a child or student gets there 5 minutes before the end of class, it's still considered tardy. And I wanted to know when or how we can eventually make a change to this. It's kind of setting up these kids for disaster in the world because as we know, if we arrive 5 minutes before the end of our shift, we're getting fired. So, and as a parent, we only get notified unless they're absent, unless you change it on Aspen to tardies. But even now, I think there should be some kind of a form of like a 15-minute max, which is very generous, before marking these children as absent. I don't think it's a system that's setting our children up for any kind of success.
I'm not sure if that's CPS or it's an Illinois State Board of Education law, but that is the law. They can show up with 1 minute left in class and they're counted as tardy as opposed to absent. I don't know how you would change that. I would call CPS and ask them for Illinois State Board of Education.
Ms. Hendler just answered that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Henry. Go ahead.
It's a CPS policy and procedure, she said.
Okay.
So it would be CPS, like the policy. Okay. I'll reach out and see what can be done. I just know personally from just a lot of parents speaking and us not getting notified that they were being that late. We thought maybe tardies 1 or 2 minutes, but then finding out our kids were just hanging out all periods, and just walking in 5 minutes before class is kind of sad to know many weeks after. So, but I'll look into it then. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crespo.
I have a comment though, this is Ms. Doherty Trebbing. I think teachers would be in agreement that it would be nice, and we used to be able to do this, we could mark the time, we could mark on record the time, so when a student was tardy, we could also indicate like the exact time that they were tardy so that it would communicate that. So I would say I would be in agreement as far as like communicating with accuracy how tardy a student is.
Was that something that was with the other portal that you could do?
There used to be, there's like a notes function somewhere that you could add in.
But you
Well,
can't.
I will tell you what I do now. I mean, but I still don't think it's a good system where if I do get a tardy on my phone, I immediately message the teacher how tardy was my child. So I'm constantly messaging the teachers because it just doesn't say on the app. I get it's not the teacher's responsibility. It's a lot more work and so forth, but I just think it's just not, it's many students through the building. And it's a huge problem. So we're getting credit as CPS as our children are in school, but they're really not. And it's sad that this isn't a bigger issue and that it's not getting spread the way that it should. Like notify where our children are in class time. And I do feel there's two kids, because the kids that are going to class and actually saying, hey, I want to use the restroom, with 10 minutes of class, those kids are actually coming back. But the ones that really are just tardy, they're coming in the 5 minutes, like I said, before the end of class. So, and the kids that are usually using the restroom, they're kind of getting the bad end of it. Like always, it's always the kids that, I mean, that's kind of how life is. They're the bad end of it. They really do have to use the restroom, but they're the ones that are kind of getting.
Thank you, Ms. Crespo. Sorry, that was the 2 minutes. And we do have another comment from our A team, Ms. Hess. She said, for the teachers to know, you can indicate a student an Aspen journal report. You can indicate the time.
Yeah, but that's really lengthy. There used to be literally a way where we could quickly just put the time. That is true that we can Aspen journal, but that is a more involved process.
Journal's very difficult.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, Tommy's bringing up Aspen.
We have a round of applause for Connie for being here.
Just bring them like
I know.
dinner or something instead of pizza.
Hey, Mr. D, a quick shout out, because I don't think it was, just wanted to, let know that the varsity comms girls comp team took second in the city.
Oh, I didn't know that.
If anybody else on virtual wants to type in to the chat, if they want to have a public comment, a 2-minute public comment, and if there is anybody, please make sure that you just let us know who you are and how you're related to Taft. That it? Okay, well, we'll move on from public participation to adjournment. And before we adjourn, I just want to let everybody know our next meeting is April 19th at 6:30, our general meeting at the Taft Varsity Campus after spring break. And so if there's not any other questions, I move that we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for your participation.
We wish you a spring break. A terrific spring break. We wish you happy Easter to all of you.
Thank you, you too.